Hi guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to the desktop for another retro RPG. And this week I would like to present this, Fading Suns. Now this is the second edition of Fading Suns, which came out in 1999. The first edition had come out in 1996, and this one was followed up by a D20 version, as they followed up everything with the D20 version at that time, in 2001. Now, the second edition has been revised in 2007, and then there was yet another revised edition which came out in 2012, and I heard they're bringing out a fourth edition at the moment, but this is a second edition. Now, Fading Suns is a role-playing game set in the distant future, a science fiction game, which is set in a crumbling universe. The galaxy and humanity had reached a much higher technological level than they're currently at, but civilization has collapsed, and it's very feudal and medieval style, but with high-tech trappings around it. People can travel from system to system, but there's lords and barons and all that kind of thing. So let's have a look at the back of the book. Nobles, priests, aliens, knights. It is the dawn of the sixth millennium, and the skies are darkening, for the suns themselves are fading. Humans reached the stars long ago, building a republic of high technology and universal emancipation, and then squandered it, fought over it, and finally lost it. A new dark age has descended on humanity, for the greatest of civilizations has fallen, and even the stars die. Now feudal lords rule the known worlds, vying for power with fanatic priests and scheming guilds. From the original developers of White Wolf, Vampire, and Werewolf comes a saga of humanity's fate amongst the stars. Starships, psychics, lost worlds, ancient artifacts. Fading Suns 2nd Edition, and by Holistic Games in 1999. And it's an interesting game, with some very solid rules. I've only played it a few times, and I didn't really get deep into it. I wasn't hugely aware of all the background, but having had a recent read-up on it, I really like what they were trying to do. It's not a game world I find absolutely compelling, but it is trying something different, and it is a very interesting background, fairly akin to things like Dune. But let's start flicking through the book, and inside we have the jump web map of the known worlds, different hypergates and ways of traveling between the stars. The hypergates were created by a much older civilization, and humanity found that. By Bill Bridges and Andrew Greenberg. Any information there? Nothing particularly interesting. Got a prologue with a nice little story which introduces us to the setting. A Lustro's Quest. And then we're into the introduction, which starts with the standard role-playing explained. How to roleplay. A futuristic passion play. And then we've got the introduction to the universe with prehistory, the First Republic, the jump gates, the timeline from BC 40,000, date for the oldest known Anunnaki ruin. But the Anunnaki were the ones who created the jump gates, and they're the civilization. So there's an ancient species which humanity's sort of followed in the boots of. So there's interesting high-tech stuff left by an older species. So you've got all that in your science fiction setting. Barbarian invasions, human star nations unaligned to nobles. We've got the history right through to the game begins in the year 4999. Dysphoria, the prophet and his church, the virtuous disciples, the vow. The Second Republic, just going through, so detailing everything that happened. Vladimir unites the stars. The Symbiote Wars. The Emperor Wars, consolidation. Just a lot of history here of wars and collapse, and how humanity reigned high and mighty, but has now crumbled down to a far more feudal system. inside the noble mind, the minor houses, noble etiquette, really detailing a lot here, from courtly love, hospitality, duels, the universal church of the celestial sun, sects and orders, sanctuary Aeon, temple of Vestites, mendicant monks, the muster, the lesser guilds. Now there's a lot of text in here. The artwork is a bit few and far between, but the artwork that is there doesn't stand out that much. The meat of the game definitely is in the text. It's got a lot of lovely descriptions in there. That kind of artwork's very reminiscent to me of Werewolf, lots of fur. The vow, xenophobia beyond the borders, myths and legends, the fading suns. It is a true and universal acknowledged fact that the suns are fading. Even the vow recognize this. But why? There are as many answers as there are opinions. The church is undecided. The reborn sun, a heresy is at work amongst the people, spread by a mysterious and mystical sect. It dares to hope to the people, but a hope, says the church, clothed in the dreams of imperium and totalitarian rule. For this heresy says, upon the day of the emperor's coronation, a distant star was reborn. We've got warlocks, void krakens. There are things in space. And we've got the rules, which are a skill plus attribute system plus a d20, basically, with target numbers here. So you've got modifiers, penalties, victory chart, how many successes you need, critical successes, positively accented rolls, character creation. So you can get your character history, those who rule. So you can choose to be a noble. Those who pray, you can choose to be a priest. From parish priest, monastery, battle brother. Those who trade, you can be a merchant. Those who differ, you can be an alien. So Urban, Ukar, Vorux. And you've got extra stages to take your life further on. You've got custom creation if you want to be something which isn't based around those. You want to be a technician or something. Examples of character creation. Sample characters. Traits. So your advantages and disadvantages basically we've got coming up here. Oh no, these are how you do things. I apologise. We're into the skills. Landcraft, spacecraft, empathy, focus, performance, survival. Lots of skills. What are these traits? The background traits. You can start with an affliction, or you can have an artifact or a relic of ancient technology, a source of wealth, status, afflictions. So much like the traits you get in Vampire and Werewolf, where you can start having come from a rich family. You've got your experience there, healing, vitality. We're on to the occult section with psychic powers. And the various abilities that priests get. And the aliens, of course. Theurgy. Gaining hubris and losing hubris. Basically how divine you are. How much you're following the tenets of your church. The combat section, which has martial arts, different styles, shields, guns, firearms, martial arts actions, firearms actions, thrown weapons, the armor chart. We've got an example of play detailing how, and then we're into technology. where you've got interface and coding with technology. You've got money, which are called firebirds, because they bear a phoenix on one side. Weaponry. Energy melee weapons, artifact melee weapons, bows, crossbows, slug throwers, energy guns. So, sort of technology you find lay around or can still be developed as civilization has fallen. Communication, thinking machines. And the way it refers to that's very reminiscent of Dune, where thinking machines are completely different. I suppose WoW 40k rips off that idea as well, with machine spirits. Got different types of vehicles here. Walkers, hoppers, hoverpacks. Actually reminds me nothing more of than Slay Industries. Seems a bit over the top. Implantation. So you've got sort of technology which can be implanted into your body. X-Eyes, Second Brain, Ever-Ear, Goliath Skin. We've got starships. Ship classes, from shuttles right up to dreadnoughts. Spacecraft armament, where they carry a crew, marines, passengers, what spacesuits are aboard. Other ship systems. And some sample vessels. The Al-Malik Odyssey class, the League Free Trader class freighter. Alien artifacts and some examples of what they are. And we're on to the games mastering section, which explains basically how to run Fading Suns. Antagonists, minor worlders, various characters, the Invisible Path, the Vuldrok Raiders. So there's a lot of fleshing out of the world here and different people that might be around, weird monstrosities. We're getting towards the back here. Husks, which are zombies. Symbiotes. Revealing the grand theme. Some sample planets, which are very briefly gone over, not much more than a paragraph on each planet, but plenty of space for it to be fleshed out in source books. The Lost Worlds. Adjacent worlds, sort of detailing how to create your own planets and what you've got to think about. Human history on an imperial world may stretch back millennia, centuries, or mere months. And then we've got an appendix on Pandemonium. This chapter presents a detailed look at the planets of the known worlds. Pandemonium, once a backwater world, but now a nexus for important secrets. So we've got detailed on one particular planet, showing you how to flesh one out. And a sample drama, so a sample adventure we've got in right at the end. Nice index there, and upcoming products, a big selection. And a sample character sheet, so description, traits, history, possessions, characteristics. So we've got strength, dexterity, endurance, wits, perception, and tech, and the spirit ones of your balance between extrovert and introvert, passion and calm, faith and ego, blessings, cursings, your occult, your combat abilities, learned skills, and your natural skills, your vitality, and your weird at the bottom. And another copy of the Jump Web of the Worlds. Now, Fading Suns is a game which is very solidly done. The rule system is very, very nice, and it's an intriguing and quite interesting background. Not one that I absolutely love. While I like the Dune and that kind of collapsing science fiction settings, they're not one which I find compelling. They're interesting but not compelling to me. And Fading Suns falls into that. But it's a very, very good game. I recommend having a look if you wanted to play in a Dune-style game, but with a lot more fleshed out space to play in. Because obviously the Dune background's set up. 40k background you just set up where you can't really change much. But Fading Suns, your players can go out there and discover and do interesting things. And it's a lovely, lovely game. But anyway, as always, thank you very, very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. But most of all, you look after yourselves. And I'll catch you later. Bye now.